What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to show you how to change brake rotors and brake pads out on a Toyota Tacoma, and we're going to use the Power Stop Evolution slotted and drilled brake rotors and ceramic pads. Let's get started. I chose the Power Stop Evolution brake kit with drilled and slotted rotors with ceramic brake pads off Amazon. This was based on a recommendation of Tacoma Forms. As you can see, the 4.4 out of 5 reviews. That's great, the star reviews. And it's only $157 shipped. You want to make sure that you get these that fit your vehicle properly. As you can see up top, they fit my Tacoma just fine. After you get them shipped, you will want to jack your vehicle up. If you are using air impact like we are here in the video, you can jack the wheel off the ground completely. If you're not going to use an air impact and use a wrench, you can lift the vehicle up just a little bit, but the tire needs to be on the ground so it can stop the wheel from spinning. Otherwise, if it's off the ground and you use a wrench, you're going to have to hold the tire while you're trying to loosen the lug nuts. All the lug nuts, make sure they're all loose, and then you can hand loosen them all the way so they're off. Once you get them off, the wheel might be a little bit stuck on the brake rotor and the hub, so you might need to give a little force to break it loose. Next, you'll need to loosen up the bolts for the brake caliper. I forgot to put these in the video, so here they are located here. There's usually 2. And then we have a bolt that holds the brake line in place. Once you get those removed, you can remove the brake caliper off. And your rotor should be free, ready to go. We used a hammer to kind of get it off. This vehicle has 112,000 miles on it, so it was kind of stuck. You might have to use a little bit of force. We're not going to use these brake rotors anymore, so it doesn't matter if we damage the rotors. And then the rotor will be free to come off. Once the rotor is off completely, you want to spray, as you can see in the background, spray the new rotor off with brake cleaner to clean off all the grease, and then it'll slide on just fine. As you can see, there's a sticker on there that says which rotor it is. They do go on the proper sides, so one goes on one side and one goes on the other, based on the sticker. These calipers, they have pistons on both sides, and they use the pin system. So they have 2 pins that go across, and then they have a clip on the end that holds them from coming out. So we remove the clip, and then now we're going to use a hammer to kind of pound them out a little bit. They do build up a little bit of rust, so they're kind of rusted in there. Each of these calipers are going to have a hole for these pins to go through that hold them in place. When you put these pins back in, you're going to want to grease them up anyway so they slide nice and easy, as well as put some grease on the outside of the brake pads themselves. Once you get the pin out, the brake pads will remove fairly easily. We're going to go ahead and put them back in so that way we can compress the pistons back in. The pistons move out as the brake pads wear. And also one thing to remember here is, which we didn't show in the video, is you want to, before you do this, go ahead and pop the cap on the brake reservoir. It's underneath the hood. If you don't pop the cap, it may push the cap off, just because of the fact that when the calipers, the pistons on the calipers move out, the brake fluid the level goes lower than what it is at the top. So we use 2 C-clamps to kind of compress the pistons and ready for the new brake pads. Once we compress them all, we can put them back up, put the caliper back up, and put the bolts back in, and prepare for putting the new brake pads in. You also want to remember to go ahead and make sure you torque these to spec, and also make sure the brake line is bolted back up to the control arm. We are putting one side in here. It should slide in nice and easily. And one thing you didn't see on the first brake pad is we put grease on the side so that they will slide as you're braking nice and easy. This one we ran out of the black grease, so we used the red grease instead. Now once they are in, and set in place, we will be able to put the pins back in place. And then once you put the pins back in place, you can put the clips back in, and then we put the pin in. We put the clips in actually. We went ahead and kind of bent the clips a little bit because they're just regular clips. So that way they don't kind of pop off as we're driving down the road. Now we are complete with the brake install, and you can go ahead and put the wheel back on and torque your lug nuts to spec, and you're ready to go. Now, one thing to remember is you need to pump your brakes before you start backing out of the driveway or wherever you're doing this. If you don't pump your brakes, as soon as you start hitting your brakes, you're not going to have any brake power. So you want to pump your brakes and make sure you pump them a few times until you get power, and kind of ease up when you put it in reverse just to make sure that you have brakes. Other than that, you should be good to go. Well, thanks for watching the video. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more videos that are like this. And go ahead and hit that like button if you like the video, and go ahead and leave me any comments. You can follow me on Twitter, the DIY Reid, as well as Instagram, and we'll see you next time.